Hi, Griff Hamlin here. In the next 15 minutes or so, I want to talk to you and have a little what I call a vocabulary lesson. You may have heard, there's kind of a famous expression, it says good composers borrow and great composers steal. I like to apply that to doing guitar solos too, because truly almost all of the coolest licks, have been stolen by somebody, and in fact probably the person you stole them from somebody else. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you 5 awesome licks, and these are not ones I made up. I'm going to tell you exactly where I pulled them from, exactly where I stole them from. I don't want to have any any misgivings about that. So I'm going to show you exactly where I took them from, and then just like as Eric Clapton calls them, stock phrases. So you can call them licks, you can call them stock phrases, you can call them whatever you like. But what I'm going to do is show you how to take those and put them together into a solo of your own. So not only are we going to go through some licks, but I'm also going to show you how to take those and manipulate them so that they become useful to you. And there's a couple of real interesting key ingredients to this that honestly until just recently are things I've done naturally, but I've never really been able to articulate, and I've finally figured out really how to articulate these, so I want to share that with you. But before I get too carried away, I want to play the solo first. I'm going to play you what I would come up with from these 5 licks, so you can get an idea of what that's going to sound like and where we're going to end up. So let's do that first. Alright, so now that you've heard where we're going to end up, let's go back a few steps and let's see how we got there. Okay, so the first lick that we're going to learn is, I took it from a video actually. I was talking to somebody at a live event I did, and he was telling me about an interview from way back in like 1968 with Eric Clapton, where he was talking about his use of stock phrases. It was just some interview, it's about 5 minutes long, and anyway, it's a really, really cool video, and at 3.5 minutes or so into that video, he plays one of these little stock phrases, and I went, oh, that's cool, I'll steal that. And in fact, the reason I thought it was cool is because it happens to be almost identical to a lick in one of my courses called Blues Guitar Unleashed. So I was like, oh, cool, there's a lick that I use all the time, and here's where it's stolen from. So in this video, at about 3.5 minutes in, he plays a lick that sounds like this. Now, in the video, he doesn't give any indication as to the timing or how that would be used. And it sounds like he's playing it in a straight feel. Well, the jam track that I've chosen for this is actually in a swing feel. So what I did is I had to kind of play around with that a little bit. And in fact, I had to apply it to a rule that I've recently, I don't want to say discovered, that's not really it. This is one of those things that I've always done sort of naturally just from listening to people and gaining experience over the years, but I wasn't able to really articulate it until just recently. And the first part of it is that a lot of blues licks, a ton of them, never start on beat 1 of a measure. And I opened up my big Blues Guitar Tab white pages, which is like this thick, and I just started flipping through. You'd be amazed how many licks don't start on beat 1. That seems to be a really key ingredient. And the other part that seems to be a really key ingredient is a lot of licks end on upbeats. Some part of the beat other than the downbeat. So if you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and, the licks tend to end on one of the ands, or if you're in a triplet feel, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and they end on either the and or the but not the 1. Okay, so if you take that Clapton lick and you apply those rules to it, let's say I start it on beat 2, it actually works out pretty cool. So it comes to something like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 All right, so let's walk through that. First, I have a bend at the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and this is in the key of A, so I'm just, taking everything basically. Good old, A minor blues scale there. Okay, so a bend on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. Notice I use 2 fingers to get that bend. It's a full step, so it should sound like the very next note, which is the 5th fret on the 2nd string. 5th fret on the 1st string, 8th fret on the 2nd string, 5th fret on the 2nd string, 7th fret bending up again on the 3rd string. Notice that at the end of that bend, I kill it with my right hand and let go, and then pluck the 5th fret on the 3rd string, 7th and 5th on the 3rd string, and with the 7th fret on the 4th string. Now I'm going to write this all out in tabs, so if you're having a hard time following along as I go, just print out the tab sheet and read along. That probably makes it easier. But here I'll play it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so like I said, that lick, I stole it out of that video, I wrote it out, and that was that. Okay, the second lick I stole from a B.B. King, from Every Day I Have the Blues. Now, that tune is in B flat originally, so I had to take this lick, lower it by 1 fret. The distance between B flat and A, the key that I'm in, is 1 fret. This is kind of a cool lick because it's actually more of a major blues sound, and if you don't know the difference between the major and the minor blues sound, not a big deal. That's something that we can cover down the road. But for right now, we're just talking vocabulary, so you just have to know that this is more of a major blues sound, which means this wouldn't work as well over the 4 or the 5 chord. In fact, it probably really wouldn't work at all, but it works great over the 1 chord in the blues. So if I put this in, it's kind of like this. 1 and 2 and 3, sorry, that's not right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so this is a triplet feel. Now, triplet feel goes with a swing feel. A swing feel is created just by using the first and third parts of the triplet. So the beat is still, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Everything fits. So even if I'm playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and I'm getting that swing feel that way, I'm just skipping the second part of the triplet. So triplets are just a really natural thing in blues. So let's walk through that lick real quick. Starts with the 6th fret. I'll probably slide into the 6th fret on the 3rd string, then 5 on the 2nd string, 5 on the 1st string, 7 on the 2nd string, 5 on the 2nd string, 7 and 5 on the 1st string. So there's 2 triplet, slide into the 6 and then 2 triplet groups. 5, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, then a little bend, a little half step. You could do a whole step if you want. Half step bend at 7 on the 1st string, 5 on the 1st string, 7 and 5 on the 2nd string. All right. So again, if we time that out, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4. All right. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 4 and. All right, so we got a Clapton, we got a B.B. King. Let's do a Stevie Ray Vaughan lick. So this one I stole from Cold Shot. Great solo section in Cold Shot. And anyway, that was also in the key of A. It's a swing feel, so that was a pretty easy. I didn't have to do anything at all to this one. I just literally copied and pasted. So I got something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. faster. 1 and 2. Alright, so if I break that down, I'm going to start with the 7th fret on the 4th string. Then I'm going to do a triplet group of 5 and 7 with a bend up on the 3rd string, and then 5 on the top string. Then an 8th fret bend on the 2nd string. It could be with the pinky or the 3rd finger, whatever's comfortable, but notice that I do help. I've got helper fingers involved. Then 5, 5, 5, 1st, 2nd, and 1st strings. That's another triplet group. And then he hits the 8th fret, gives a little sugar on the 1st string. So it's like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. How long you hold that note? You could hold it for the entire bar. I'm cutting it off after a beat, but if you want to zing it and give it some vibrato, you know, that's cool. It's just, that's your flair, you know, whatever kind of flavor you want to add. So let's count that one out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. All right. So I'm now through 6 bars of the progression. I've gone through the 1 chord and I've gone through the 4 chord, and I've put 3 licks together. So if we move on to the 4th lick, this one I stole from Eric Clapton's recording of I'm Tore Down. Now, there's also a Freddie King version of I'm Tore Down. In fact, Freddie King did it first. Excuse me. And I really, really dig the Freddie King version. This lick, I think, is consistent between the 2 versions. So I know Eric Clapton definitely took a lot of licks from Freddie King over the years. So you can say this is an Eric Clapton lick if you want, but in reality it's probably more of a Freddie King lick. And I don't know where Freddie King stole it from, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stole it from somewhere. So this one is going to have a couple of beats of rest. If I take it right from the top, it's like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So let me walk you through that. So 1 and 2 is nothing. On the and, I'm going to bend the 8th fret on the 1st string, bend it up a whole step, then I'm going to kill it with the right hand and release, then I'm going to bend it up a half step. So this is a great lick to get used to the difference. Whole step, half step. And then we're going to have 5, 5 on the 1st and then 2nd string. So you notice I just kind of roll my 1st finger. 7th fret on the 3rd string, 5th fret on the 3rd string, 7th fret on the 4th string. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A little bit faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. Now the next lick that I stole from LaGrange by ZZ Top. This is the very first lick that comes in right away when the solo starts. That solo's in C. Oh, and in fact, that Tore Down lick that I just did, that song's also in C. So all I did was the distance from C to A, which is the key that I'm in, is 3 frets. So I took the lick and moved it down 3 frets. That's all you have to do to change keys. The feel was the same, so I didn't do anything to the feel at all. I just literally copied and pasted, changed it down by 3 frets. I'm going to do the same thing with this LaGrange solo. It's in C, so it would be up here. So I'll just move it down. I played it a little bit wrong, but it's this. We have the bend, 8th fret on the 2nd string. Then we're going to do triplet groups with pull-offs. So 5th fret on the 1st string, 8th fret, pull off to 5, pluck the 8 again and pull off to 5 on the 2nd string, 7th fret on the 3rd string, 5, 5, 7. There's that little 1st finger roll again. 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string, 5, 5, 7. Rock back to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, pull off to the 5th fret, 7th fret on the 4th string, and end it here on the 5th fret. Now, and I gotta be honest, in my transcription of that tune, it had, and then it went back up to the 7th fret on the 3rd string and back down to the 7th fret on the 4th string for those last couple of notes. And to be honest, I just didn't like it. That's just kind of not the way I hear that, so I changed the last note. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you're going to see in a minute, I'm going to actually do the same idea to get my very last little piece. Okay? So if I put that all together, I have 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. One more time. 1 and a 2 and a 3, 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a etc. etc. All right. Now, at that point, I was out of notes. My 5 licks were up. But I wanted something, and I could have just laid out until the next 12 came around, but I decided I wanted just a little something for the very last measure. So what I did is I took the first, or the last 4 notes of the very first lick, which was this. So it was 5, 7, 5, 7. So 3rd string. Okay? And all I did was I changed the last note. Why did I change the last note? Because that chord right there is an E. It's not an A. So since the last note of the lick was an A, I changed it to an E. Again, no big deal. I just changed that last note to make it fit in a little bit nicer with the chord. This is just one of those things that as you learn licks and you start to go through the process of turning them into something that's useful, you learn, oh, this is awesome, except for that last lick ends here and it kind of sounds funny and against the chord. Fine, change it. Just change the last note. It's no big deal. Nobody's, you know, the lick police are not going to come and take you away if you change the last note, or if you end it a half a beat early, and because maybe that note does sound cool over the chord. Again, there's no lick police that are going to come and get you. By all means, change them a little bit. Change them to fit your needs. There's absolutely no reason not to. Okay, so now that I've showed you where we were going to end up, and I've walked you through all of the licks involved. So at this point, what I hope you'll do is print out the tab and have it kind of next to you while you watch, and I'm going to play it again, and kind of just follow along in the tab and see if you can see the licks as I play them. All right, so let's. Here, I'm going to play it again for you, and hope you can follow along. I hope you've enjoyed this video. We've basically just taken these 5 licks, you've stolen them, you've learned how to sort of turn these into your own vocabulary and make your own solos out of them. And really, this is how it works. If you go and you learn a solo, steal stuff out of it. I mean, that's the whole point. When you learn the solos, you want to take little bits and pieces, the stuff that really sticks with you. You want to take those little bits and pieces and put them into something else of your own.